everybody. We just had the first week of season 11. Very exciting. And this is our 65th episode of State of Scrims. I'm actually going to remember the episode numbers because of the bracket we're doing for about like 5 more episodes, and then it's going to be completely out the window. But I don't know. That bit's said.
Enjoy it while we can.
Anyway, purple. I'm wearing purple. Room's purple. Celebrating. It'll be decorated next episode, probably. But yeah, I mean, this week of games has been absolutely phenomenal. Oh my god, my audio is terrible. It's like everything's so echoey in here. I can't wait to get furniture back in here. But anyway, first week of games was an absolute banger. I feel like we had a decent amount of, I guess, upsets. I don't know if it was quite upsets, but I feel like we had super exciting games. And something I found interesting is every team that had side select ended up losing the series.
Oh, really? Yeah, they're definitely very exciting games. I didn't notice that until you just said it, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to notice when I pull it up and I see the entire right side is lit up and the
Yeah.
entire other side is completely
Okay.
grayed out. But
A
yeah, I mean,
very fun series, sorry, I was just gonna say, very close, fun, exciting series. Considering, especially the fact that only one series actually went to 3 games, but it felt like they were all super competitive, regardless of the fact that the majority were 2 zeros.
yeah, I think I would say three. I think the 3-2-0s. I feel like had one pretty close game, and then the other one was not so close. I think the Rift Sharks QC series was the only one where that wasn't true. I think both games were fairly close, but I think one was more close than the other. But yeah, I mean, the SKT Project Tuesdays game, I honestly that's the only one that I didn't get to finish because I was super busy on Friday. But I watched through like the first 30 minutes of that game. I was convinced SKT won the series, and I went to go back, and then I they did not. But anyway, the game was
No.
super close, and then I skimmed through the second game. Definitely not as close there. I think Project Tuesdays is looking really good. But I mean, SKT not running the roster that they're going to prioritize. I think they had really bad availability this first week, unfortunately. But I think they had a really
Yeah.
good showing. And I think this team is going to take some series. I meant to say this last week, actually, but along with my power rankings, I want to say that I think the best team in the league is going to go. Oh, I actually had this wrong. For some reason, I was thinking that we'd play 9 series. But no, I think the best team in the league is going to go at most 6-2. And I think the worst team is going to go 2-6. It might be more
Okay.
contentious than that, but I don't think we're going to see a team with only one loss or only one win. Maybe I will be wrong. I think if there's a team that's going to break that, I think Snarkify might go 7-1. But I really hope
You don't believe in
that
your
I'm
own
right.
team to go 7-1? You just started off so
Oh,
strong.
we'll see. I mean, we have some availability gaps coming up, so I think maybe that will end up doing
Ah,
something. Or maybe I just
okay.
don't want to jinx myself. There's not
Maybe.
enough wooden
I mean,
furniture in my room to unjinx, but I don't know. I think Snarkify looks really good. We've been scrimming them a bunch with some weird rosters on our end, so I don't know how much credit or how much credibility goes to those scrim results, but they're a really strong team. They have a lot of good players, and they're allowed to run a lot of super illegal rosters. At least iCheck makes them illegal, but obviously they're legal or they wouldn't be allowed to run them. But I think that
yeah.
team's super scary, and having Hanya as their coach is kind of what I've understood is happening. But everyone says really good things about him, and I think having him on their team is going to help a lot. I think even just being there for practices. But yeah, just want to shout them out. Although their strategy to leave Twitch up, I think, was very questionable. I don't know why
You
we're
know.
doing this. And I mean, I'm going to say the same thing to QC. I don't know why we leave Lilia up. I get that it's early in the season, but these aren't really hidden picks. Maybe this is the weakness of the new teams leaving up
I
these
think,
one tricks. But Project Tuesdays did not suffer
yeah.
because I don't think there's as many scary one tricks over on SKT.
I
They're
think
more
some of it's
well-rounded players.
some of it. I think is the fearless being a thing where it's like, well, we'll give them Twitch, we'll give them Lilia. If we lose, we'll have a plan to beat it. And if it doesn't work, it's fearless, so it's just one game. And that worked better for Snarkify than it
Yes, it
did
did.
for QC, because Snarkify got rid of had the Twitch experience and then had a very nice next 2 games. I don't know. I think some of it's probably ego as well. Just like, hey, we could beat this, but. I don't know. I'd love seeing Stav just remind everybody first game back
Uh
after
huh.
taking a whole season
Uh
off.
huh.
It's just like on his signature pick, playing just an amazing game. So that was fun to see.
You know, that was completely absurd. Shout out Stav, the goats. But anyway, I think just going through the series, I don't know how much time we need to spend on them. This might be a shorter episode, just because I think, a lot of the stuff we talked about kind of just held true. And with it only being one series, I don't think there's too much development. But SKT had
Talk
a
about him.
much stronger start than a lot of people were predicting them to. So I think that's really good on them. I'm high on this team, especially once we get Tuxedo in. I think GameCase played super well. I think that was the only new player that we got to see on their team, and I think he lived up to what some people's expectations were, and definitely surpassed a lot of people's expectations as well. Project Tuesdays, I think, looked pretty strong. I was predicting them to beat SKT, so I think they kind of performed to what I thought they were going to do. I think NYMB versus Project Tuesdays on, what is that, Sunday? I think that's going to be a really exciting series. I think that's going to be real important for both those teams. I think we
Yeah.
both power rank them kind of in the same band. So, and that band is kind of on the playoff edge. So I think these are the games that are really going to matter for those teams if we're right, which easily could not be right. But moving down
Mhm.
to QC Rift Sharks, unless you have anything to say about that series.
Uh, no, nothing else really to say there. Kind of echo your thoughts. I liked what we saw out of SKT and excited to see them with their primary roster that I've been told they intend to run. I think it'll maybe give them a little bit of a better chance, but I don't know, not a bad first showing. Just I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of the boogeyman. Like you got to get that first win, and
Yeah.
until you get that first win, it's gonna feel so daunting. But I think it is coming for them, and once they get it, I feel like it'll just everything will feel easier probably.
Yeah, that's definitely true. QC vs Rift Sharks, I think the most interesting thing about the series was Rat completely ducking Giraffe. That really threw us off guard. We were super surprised by that.
You say ducking?
Yeah, I mean he hid to bot lane and then he hid to top lane. He goes to his third best role,
What
and
do you
does
think
not
the
play
logic
against mid
was
lane.
there?
I'm really not sure. I think Rat's probably the best mid laner on their team. It's close behind Alec, so running Alec into Giraffe both times I think did well. I mean, he was able to punish him
Hmm.
somewhat on the LeBlanc, but I mean, yeah, we are throwing bans at Rat, so maybe it's that. It's like soak up the bans and
Yeah.
then swap. We are expecting him to maybe go ADC, but I think going all the way to top lane was a bit interesting. I think throwing Zaber actually worked really well. I think Zaber had a solid Jin performance. He put us behind in lane. Um,
Hmm.
like they were up 2 kills, but it just didn't pan out. I mean, I think Rat or Alec probably would have had a much stronger late game. I think just champion pool. I mean, Jin was a really free Sivir pick for us. It was basically impossible
Hmm.
to punish Evan later in the game, and just I think the Jin's kind of hard to play late if you don't have a good draft set up for him. And I don't know. I mean, the Camille did some stuff, and Drakkar and Rat just turbo camping top lane did put Chow behind and got them a lead, but when we were able to just double kill their bot lane every time they got a kill on Chow, you lose out so much that way. And I think they
Yeah.
really suffered because of that. I mean, even just keeping Rat bot lane could have been good. But I don't know. It was tough. I'm not sure what the decision was there. I think Rat could have put more of a damper on Giraffe than we got to see at all in this series. And I don't know. I think they might have been trying to play off the role swap a little too hard in Fearless, but I don't know. I think we got a little lucky. I think if they had a better strategy going into us, I think it would have been a lot closer series. There's obviously a lot of talent on that team, and I still think they're a really good team. And I think we just are happy that we got the win in against them. Although Rat
They
is
did
going on
lose week one
vacation
last season
for
too. But I was
that's
gonna
true.
say, they lost week one last season and then
Yeah,
didn't really let go after that. So maybe that's just gonna be their thing. But
yeah. Well, they are
I
playing
don't
one
know.
T next week, and one T was the team that beat them
They
last season.
are.
And Rat is
They
on
are.
vacation for 3 weeks, so I don't know if this was known info.
Three
I think
weeks.
it was to some degree. I
Mm.
think that's the number. But I mean, maybe they'll get their break week splashed in there, so it only costs them their roster a couple series. I don't think they have too much to worry about. I think this way they can actually put Alec and Ribbons both in, and that way they have main mid, main role bot, which I don't
Yeah, I
think
don't think
hurts
it's
them too
actually that big
much.
of a drop
But
off. I'll just
yeah.
say we've actually scrimmed the Ratless roster, so I
Mhm.
assume we've kind of scrimmed what they'll probably play, and it's certainly still a very strong roster. So I
Okay.
mean, sucks when you lose your captain, but I don't think I don't think they're like hurting for
Well, I'll
talent or
get
anything like that.
I'll get your true read when we do predictions because, as we've seen, you show no bias towards your team in predictions. So
I try
we'll
not to.
we'll see if that holds. Moving on to One Thief versus New York Nutbusters. Oh my god, that the game two in this series might be one of the best Scrim Zone games we've ever seen. That was insane. I was
Yeah,
like,
I'll
that was
say
a nail
so.
biter.
I'll say I honestly thought both games were close playing in them.
Yes, I
I know
agree.
game two was way closer than game one, but game one felt close to me, but then it just like it felt like we just had an issue into their draft. I'm not entirely sure. I was kind of left scratching my head at the end of that one, like how did this feel so hard when you have gold on those champions that we had, but it was. But game two, yeah, I mean it was a banger. I wish I was watching it as a neutral, but sucks to lose, but it was, I mean, it was a pretty amazing game. Shout out Carrot with the super clutch steal at the end of the game.
Yes, we love it.
Love
Elder
that
Flip.
guy. Love that guy. The problem is it should never have come to that,
Oh
but
no,
it did, and
absolutely
he and
not.
he took it he took it and ran with it. So I don't know. New York Nutbusters. Not surprised to see them being a scrappy, fun team. I mean, you got to see some fun Blake picks. The Swain was cool. As always, he's kind of got some fun stuff. I was really impressed with how Archived played,
Yeah,
especially in that
for sure.
first game. I thought Archive played really well and really wasn't any sort of window to attack. I mean, they were actually kind of just outplaying Bean and Sarvers in the lane phase, that first lane with Tom Kinch and whatever Archive was playing. I'm forgetting the champ right now, but
I feel
was
like it was
doing.
Jinx. Was it Jinx or Yunara?
I think it might have been Unara,
Okay.
and they were really really bullying us. So yeah, good stuff to them. And yeah, I think them going up against Project Tuesdays, that's gonna be a fun one. Hopefully,
Yes,
I can
sir.
watch that one live or cast it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the games aren't logged and the VODs haven't been uploaded yet. I'm waiting on some stuff for the Rift Sharks VOD,
Mm.
and then everything's going to kind of cascade after that. And the Rift Sharks and New York Nutbuster games just need to get logged. So I can't actually go back. So we won't be able to do like a meta read or look at the drafts or anything, unfortunately.
I was wondering why you
Um,
weren't showing the games, but
yeah,
I don't know. I will
we'll
say
get
it
there.
sucks. A little bit, a little bummer to go 2-0. I feel like we should have had a game three there, which would have been hype. But I'm not getting too doom and gloom. We definitely had game two and then kind of threw it. So we clean up a few things. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to versus QC. I think that's going to be a tough team to beat.
Without a
And
doubt.
then
Without a doubt.
Nutbusters versus Snarkify, as you said, are only three gamer
Banger.
so far. Yeah,
Banger
really
series.
good. I feel like the second one felt closer than the third one did. The third game was a little unfortunate.
Uh,
But
I mean, honestly though, like the second game felt close for the first 10 minutes, and then it just was not.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you had Foosier winning top really hard in the 1v1 with the Urgot into the Galio, which I was pretty concerned for the Galio. I was like, that's not a matchup you're going to want to be in. But it was kind of the same thing both games 2 and 3. Whether it was Snow top or Foosier top, they were beating Kage in the 1v1, but Kage did a very nice job of minimizing how much he was losing. Like he went down 100 CS, but he wasn't dying and he wasn't like giving up
yeah.
his turret. So he just and then he would show up in the team fights. But I mean, that was kind of the masterclass you were wanting to see from both Sandy and the bottom lane in Lelouch and Vetus. I mean, just the pressure that their bottom lane was exerting was causing the entire rest of the map to have to play around that lane, which completely snuffed out the advantage that they had built on the top side by having to try to respond to that. And it's like Stav and Kathy were not dying a bunch. Like they were not dying to Vetus and Lelouch lane, but they were dropping farm, they were dropping turret plates, they were dropping the turret. Teammates were having to be sent to help the lane, and it was just like I feel like that showed you how to win off using pressure without necessarily needing to brute force kills,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. And then
Yeah,
I mean I thought
100%.
Sandy just had a really fun game
Yeah.
on that third game with the Vagar, like super cool pick. Hero had a really nice game 3 as well, set Sandy up, got him a little bit of an advantage, and then once he gave Sandy that advantage, Sandy just never let go of it and was just finding multiple solo kills on Diffuser, big Vagar one shots once he started getting his items. And yeah, I think the game 2 and the game 3 really show you what Snarkify can look like at their best. And not even their best, to be honest, because I know Kage can play even better than that.
Right.
So it's like, if he just levels up his lane phase a little bit, and you've got the rest of the map playing like that, man, that's going to be a tough team to try to take down. And I think we talked about it in the interview when we interviewed Vetus after the game. In my opinion, Vetus got his two best champions in the second and third game, which is the Yunara and the Zeri. And I
Yeah.
mean, he
Yeah,
even
that
said he was surprised, but it's kind of the same thing where it's like if you have enough good players on your team, you have to leave someone's champs open. And Metabusters just had the read that, hey, we need to ban away Sandy, and that let Vetus get his picks. And I don't know if that's what the strategy people are going to want to do moving forward. But I mean, shoot, you may have a team try to ban out the Eddie carries, and then Sandy just goes beast mode on the mid lane picks that were getting banned. So really tough team to try to strategize both in game and just draft phase against.
Yeah, I mean, both of them have a decent champ pool, so it's hard to like truly ban any of them out. Although I will say, I feel like what you can do in Fearless is like once you've given over the Yunara game two, you can knock out both of them by just banning the Zeri in game three. So like you can let one of them through and not let both of them through in the series. I feel like something with Fearless that's worth doing is if you're going to leave a powerful champion up for one player, leaving all of them up is fine because they're only going to get one. And then you have to ban fewer of them later on, which is something that could work. But I do want to point out that Metabusters, kind of along with SKT, I feel like did run one of their like less preferred rosters this time. They didn't get to run Tusini or Korn, which I think is a big deal. So I think with that,
that's a good
I
point.
think, I think Jacob did a really good job the first two games on jungle, but I think it was kind of obvious that he wasn't as comfortable on the Wukong. At least to expectations.
The
I don't
Amumu
think he was
game,
like looking like the goat out there or whatever, but like I think it like they weren't suffering too bad from the off roll until the third game.
I'll say the Amumu game, I thought he actually played really well.
Yeah.
Had some actually like absurdly good plays. Like really, I'm the Amumu fan, so like I was loving what I was seeing out of that guy. Like that's peak Amumu gameplay in my opinion. But yeah, like beyond that, the Volibear felt a little uncomfortable. I know there was some discussion after the fact regarding like build path and things like that. Kind of just went for like what the strong build is on the patch.
Yeah.
But as we talked about on the cast, you're so squishy when you go that build, and he was just getting blown up. I would have liked to have seen them playing with like maybe their more primary roster, but certainly not a weak roster. I mean, Stav and Kathy played really well, especially in game one. Thought Jacob, did his job in game two. Game three a little rough, but I don't know. Snow's Snow. He played great. Fuzier, I thought, played really well outside of the last game. I wasn't really like a huge fan of the lane swap. Like it felt like they were doing well with Fuzier top and Snow mid, and then they kind of flipped it for the third game. And it's like Snow still did really well, but it felt like Fuzier struggled a lot more, whereas then you only had one solo lane doing well, whereas in the previous two games you kind of had both solo lanes doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's interesting because I think Fujir's probably going to end up playing mid more often, at least from my understanding.
Probably, yeah.
I could be wrong, but so it was interesting to see him be a little weaker in that lane than he was top. But it could just be like strength of opponent. I think they're both off rolls for him, and I think when you're playing into a really, really good opponent on an off roll, I think it becomes a little more obvious. Because I feel like his strength in mid is being able to play kind of uninteractive champions and just do a really good job farming up and then be a huge threat later in the game when it's not as much lane specific. But I think especially with the Vigar, and like I feel like the way in which he had to blow his flash a couple times, that just kind of screamed like not super familiar with mid lane and not realizing what the punishment would be for getting the flash blown. Especially with Vigar.
That's a good point. Yeah, because I mean Sandy is an amazing player, and I think you're right. Like I think that's a tough matchup to slot into. But then you also confront, he was counterpicked, the Vagar was picked into the Victor, and you got your flash blown and died at like level 4 from the Trundle. At that point, it's so hard to play. They chose to blind pick Victor to give Snow the last pick top lane. But to me, when you know that Kage's just gonna pick a dang tank and sit there and try not to lose as best he can, I feel like you maybe should have given the counter to mid. Yeah. Maybe you should have just given the counter to mid, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the discussion after the game has been Snow, like being a little sad that it was Zeri into the GP, which is again something we talked about with like maybe Zeri should have just gotten banned.
Well, they first picked Zeri, though. That's the thing. It's like, I think Zeri's a hard champ to deal with, and Vetus is amazing at it. But when you first pick it, you have 5 picks to try to draft a good team comp against it, and you
Was
didn't really
Nautilus
pick
still
any
up
like
in
easy
that game?
CC.
Oh, but it's Kathy
Nollis
bought it.
was, but
Okay,
I don't think it's Kathy's preferred
right.
champs.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I think
you end
that's
up with a
also
comp where there's such little CC for it.
yeah, that's the tough thing about not having Jacob on support. I think his champ pool is more well adapted to Stav's play style. Because I feel like Stav's more of like a aggressive kind of balls to the wall player, and when you have like a Lulu, it's like a lot harder to play that way. Like she's good at like amplifying trades and like getting some damage initially, but not as good as the engage. And Jacob does have really good engage champions. So I don't. I'm not even necessarily saying that like Jacob's like a better player than Kathy. I just think Jacob and Stav is like a better pairing, especially as they played together for so long at this point. So I think you do suffer a little bit there. So I'm just kind of excited to see that. A little sad that it's probably going to be versus us tomorrow, but happy to see
Are y'all
it.
playing tomorrow?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I think this should be a banger series. Yeah, I mean, I do think it is interesting. Like looking at the matchups that happened, I think a lot of the teams that played each other are like pretty comparable in at least the power rankings, and I think where we think the standings will end up. So the 4 teams that have a win are not necessarily the 4 best teams, and the 4 teams that have a loss are also not necessarily the 4 worst teams. So
I'm
I
not sure,
think,
Dean. I think we just fully send on week 1. If you lost, you're
oh
trash,
yeah,
and if you won, you're
that's
the
true.
best. I think that's how it
Sorry.
goes.
Yeah, you're looking to be in the 8th slot here. I think you're gonna say that. And
I
QC actually the worst team. So true. But I don't know. It should be interesting. But I mean, we do get to see a lot of like these cross games. So like NYMB and PT both won and they're playing each other. One Thief
Yeah.
and QC both lost and they're playing each other. I think SKT gets to play against Alberts, and I think this is going to be a really close series. I
I'm so
think
excited for
this is the
that.
chance for SKT to really get their game in because Alberts has to rebuild last minute, and I know they were a team that was scrimming. We played against their Lispy roster. Like I think we scrimmed them 3 times, then we played them in Frostbite. But I mean, obviously we lost Lispy and Frostbite, and then they clapped us. So I mean,
Yeah, I
Blake isn't
just
going to
don't
be
know
there.
what to
But
expect. I have no idea what to expect out of Alberts with this whatever roster they're going to have to run. And I mean, I don't know. This might be SKT's like chance to really grab a win here
yeah,
if Alberts is still trying to like figure out what configuration they're going to go with this season. You've already gotten a series to kind of warm up if you're SKT. Alberts coming in first season or first series of the season, having to figure out what their roles are going to be, had to shuffle it around last minute. I think you actually might match up pretty well. I've heard really good things about this Tuxedo guy. I've never seen him play, but I've
yeah.
heard really good things. He's supposed to come in and be a game changer. I think Game Case can hold his own if he's playing well against Omar,
Omar,
who
that's gonna be
has
a
been playing
banger
good.
matchup.
But
Holy,
I, this might be the angle for them. And, if you're putting Apari back in jungle, if Apari's going to jungle and then, you're matched up against Albert, who I think did play very well in Frostbite, but there might be some champ pool concern there with Fearless. If you get into like a longer series, get into a game 3, maybe the champ pool favors Apari a little bit. You
I
could
think Albert's
have
good
an
in a
angle
BO3.
there.
I think the concerns for Albert show up in a BO5. I think he's good for a BO3. Apari though,
Unless you
worry.
choose to target ban him, though,
That's
unless you
true.
choose to actually ban him out.
That is going to be hard though. I feel like they have so many good players on their team, but I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
going to
know
be
who the
so
bans are for them anymore, though, because you
yeah.
don't really have to worry about Teddy champions because
Yeah,
he's
it
not
used to
playing.
be Garen Singed because that's those 2 were
Yeah,
proto
you don't
banned
got
in
to worry
scrims
about
against
Lispy now,
them,
though.
and yeah,
I
so
think
maybe it does
I
open
think you're
up.
looking at either Omar. You're looking at probably banning maybe like the Akali from Omar. He was feasting on people last season with that, or maybe you try to go for a strategy of banning out Albert. I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
could be
That'll be a fun
interesting.
series, though.
Yeah, I know some people do like banning out Jeremy also, but I think they're able to run Brian and Draco now, that could be interesting. I don't know. I really have no clue what roster they're gonna run. I think I don't even know. Hold on, I need to test this out. I'm so curious. Who? Okay, they have a full team now, which is kind of crazy. If you're running Canuck top, can you? Yeah, you can run Canuck, Albert, Omar, Brian, and Draco. You can also run Pickle in the same spot, but I think Canuck's probably the stronger lineup. Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably what I'm thinking to be their best
Okay.
lineup, and that honestly doesn't look bad. And
No,
especially flip
yeah.
over here. I mean, I
I've never
think
seen Canuck play, so I don't know what to expect from them. But
yeah, me
I've
Yeah,
also never seen Tuxedo play, so that could be very fun if both the
yeah.
top laners are just new to the server type players getting to kind of have a critical matchup in whatever roster they run. And I'm curious to see if SKT, it sounds like Tuxedo's going to kind of slot in as their main top laner. I'm curious to see, do they stick with Faye and AD carry? Is Honan like just unavailable the whole season, or is he going to get to play some? You also have
Yeah, I don't
Nevada, who's
know.
kind of the flex player. Curious to see
Well,
what they
the
do.
other thing that I think is kind of important to think about, Canuck only at 5 games, by the way, and Honen's in the same situation. So both these teams have players who only have 5 games in. So if they run them now, they're stuck with the sub penalty on them the entire season, which I do think matters.
I
So
think these teams have enough of like a leeway of points, though. It doesn't seem like they're
yeah,
hurting that
that's true.
bad.
Yeah, I guess if you can slot in Teddy over Brian here,
Yeah, you
and
can
that's
still put in Teddy even with the
well,
penalty. I think they're
that's a
oh,
sub
it's
penalty on both of them. Actually, I don't know. No, Teddy isn't even eligible to play yet. He doesn't have 5 games. So
oh
I think if they try and run Teddy and Canuck and they both have sub penalty, they won't be able to do that. So that is something interesting, but I haven't really seen a push to get either of those players to sign up. I think I've seen something for Honan, but I actually think for Honan here, if they try and run this, they can't because Honan doesn't have enough games in. That's the thing that I'm really looking at, because if they have something going on like this, where game case isn't available and they want to run this, that means that they're killing the
oh
Honan roster for the rest of the season, which I don't think is a smart move. I think having the Honan
yeah
roster available is like really strong for them. So burning it early by not letting me his games in is tough. And guys,
yeah.
this
They
is
need to
why
get
you
him
get
his
your
games
games in
for
on time,
sure.
please. It
Yeah,
makes it so
they need
much
to get him
easier for
his
your
games.
captains and your teams. And yes, I know 10 games can
Yeah.
be a lot for some people, but it's the only way that we're properly calibrated. It's things get skewed during the season. So I don't know. I don't need to be like a party pooper, but I think that's something that you do need to worry about, especially like from a captain's perspective. Um, like I had to really push for Fishy to get his games in. I'm glad he did, but I don't know. Just something to keep an eye on.
Okay.
But yeah, moving on, I feel like NYMB versus Tuesdays. I think that one's going to be a really close one. I like genuinely don't know who has the edge there. I think NYMB is like could have some like inconsistency. I think Carrot had a great game 3 despite the fact that he started off like 0-5. So I think I don't know. It's tough. Whereas I feel like Project Tuesdays is more consistent, but maybe they have like a lower ceiling. But I mean, honestly, I don't know enough about that team. They could just spike really high, and we just haven't seen it yet.
In
Because I think they've played
yeah.
really solidly, but I don't think they've played to the level as some of the best teams have. But I mean, maybe we're just waiting for that to happen.
Mm, I don't know. I kind of disagree. I think Project Tuesdays has impressed me a lot. Maybe not like the team as a whole. Like I've not watched Project Tuesdays themselves like pop off as a 5 man yet, because I mean they've only had 1 week that I've seen. But like I've been very impressed by Dave in the top lane. I've been very impressed by their bottom lane. LSD Dreams had an insane game during Frostbite. Blind Spirals had some really good games. So I feel like I've seen all 5 of their players play extremely well. So that just gives me confidence in them. I don't know if I'm going to favor them over Nutbusters. That's like a toss up for me.
Yeah.
With how well Archived and PB played together, that actually gives me a lot of hope for Nutbusters here, because I would have favored Yug and Fatal a lot just based on my preconception of what I thought these bot lanes would match up, because the Fatal and Yug have looked so good.
Yes,
But the way
definitely.
that I thought Archived immediately looked like they've obviously been practicing some with PB, and they just looked right on the same page from day one. So I think they'll be able to hold their own. It's probably going to a lot to me come down to how well Blake and Dave's matchup goes, because I think mid lane's probably pretty even. I think LSD and Daniel will both play well. I think Carrot and Blind Spiral are on pretty similar levels. So to me, top lane might actually kind of be the critical lane here, because I think Dave is a player that looks his best when he's kind of on some more of the carry picks. I mean, I think he has some tanks, but I feel like he wants to play more of the carries. At least that's kind of been
Yeah,
what
that's
I've
gonna be
gathered.
tough into Blake. I feel like Blake is like very good at shutting down players, especially once he figures out your play style. So
Yeah.
maybe I think Dave might have a couple windows since don't think they've played against each other much. But the problem is identifying what the hell Blake's going to play and knowing how to counter it. Like I think Kyle's a
Yeah.
top laner who looks really good, and then we saw in Frostbite Blake just absolutely smothers him with some random J4 top pick. And like, I mean, if Blake just pulls something that Dave doesn't know how to deal with, I think that just ends the game, and then
Well,
you
I
know
have a
we have close
question.
games to the rest.
Dean, I have a question.
Yes.
Is Blake going to victimize other people with Smolder Top again this season, or was that just going to be us?
It depends on if he gets banned or not. I'm pretty sure, because that thing was like perma banned against him last season, and you guys left it up. So I think you kind of had it coming. I'm gonna be honest.
You
But
know, there were rumblings of the power of the Varus top lane that had a couple people pretty scared. So
oh,
there's
that's what that
just
was for. I thought y'all
too
knew
too
something about
too
archive, but I
much to
didn't.
ban.
Oh my god, that's like actually
I
absurd.
don't know. I saw Blake's match history and it was like 20 straight games of Varus top.
Well, he played more than that of Irelia earlier, so I don't know. I think he could play anything. That's so funny.
That's the truth. That's the truth. He can play anything. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be a fun one. If we have to give an actual prediction, I'm gonna I'm gonna go 2-1 here, and I'm gonna give it to Project Tuesdays.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll flip it.
I'm liking what I'm seeing out of them.
I'll go 2-1 Nutbusters. I think they could 2-0. I have a inkling that Carrot's gonna flip tails really hard one game and like roll a 1 on the D20 and give it over. Also,
We'll
I think
see.
Spiral has like the mental edge over him, having benched him on Rift Sharks last season. I think that's gonna. But I don't know. Carrot
It's
always
kind of
has
a
something
fun
to prove.
matchup.
Carrot performs into junglers that are considered better than him. So I don't know. We'll see. But I don't know. It really depends on what version of Carrot shows up. The one that we saw in the match on Sunday was the version that's going to win, um, just in a weird way. Uh, but anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
Rift Sharks, Metabusters. I'm just gonna say my team wins. I mean, I have to. I do. I'm curious what your prediction is for the series.
Um, Assuming that you guys are running the same roster you ran the first week, and that Metabusters is going to go back to like a more what you'd maybe consider their starting roster, I think it'll be very close. Um, to me, if I'm trying to figure out where are the really important things in this matchup, hmm,
Well, we have traded rosters with each other earlier, so I can
yeah,
tell you
it's
that it is going to be like the best roster for both teams. So
okay. Would you mind telling me the roster then, if everybody knows?
yeah, I mean, okay, it's the same one we ran versus QC, and then they're
Okay.
running Corn, Snow, Tusini, Stav, Jacob.
Banger, 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 banger. I hope I can cast that tomorrow. Um, all right. Metabusters 2-1. Metabusters 2-1. I'm
Okay,
saying
yeah.
it. Tusini's going to come in with a vengeance. And I actually think Fishy's been playing amazing. Snow's pissed after week one. Snow's coming into jungle with a vengeance. I I see the angle. I see the angle. If Rift Sharks finds the way to win, to me, it's either going to be I'm completely wrong and Tusini looks hella washed and just gets absolutely bodied by Giraffe, but
Oh my
that's my
god.
guy, so I'm not gonna say that's gonna happen. And it's that Chow just really gives it to Corn, but I feel like that matchup's very even in top lane. And then you're looking at bottom lane. Evan versus Stav. That's like we've seen that how many times over the years? I mean, that's
A
just like a
lot.
fun one.
Oh wait, let's
I
pull it
think
up.
that's
Let's pull it up.
pretty even. I mean, like there's always some spicy stuff with that because like both players like Neela. Neela's actually good into Twitch, so it's like, do you give him the Twitch to counter with the Neela? Like there's all these angles when those players go up against each other. I think Evan Sway does good into Stav's champion pool, so it's like you have so many little intricacies there. I've been really impressed with the support. Frentic, is that your sports name?
Yeah.
I've been very impressed with Frentic. Maybe give him the slight edge over Jacob. Oh, this is a close one. I don't know. And Rift Sharks versus Metabusters, kind of bummed I'm not in this one anymore, but this is like the matchup of the rivalry of the server
I
to
just jammed the wrong thing.
so continues to be a fun one. Oh, yeah, I think it's gonna be super close.
Oh,
Two
okay.
one
Okay, this
two.
is.
Let's see.
Oh, okay. I can't actually pull it up. It's okay. It's in the bottom, guys. Trust.
Stav has the edge. I
It's
see it a little bit.
23 to 15. Better KDA.
So Stav has historically taken it a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I guess that's a little bit, but I mean, pretty similar KDs, fun champ pools. Um, yeah, I think Metabusters bounces back here. I see it. So I'm gonna go Metabusters 2-1, close series.
Yep.
I think Fishy finally meets his match a little bit I thought he looked so good in Drakkar. I think Snow's coming in with a little bit of a vengeance. I think maybe that's the angle.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think if we lose, it's going to be through Snow. Guy's really good, and if we don't have Zeri into his GP, maybe he gets a little better. But I
Evan's a
don't
good
know.
Zeri though.
Yeah, who knows? I don't think he's playing GP jungle. I would like him to. I think that would benefit us, but I don't think that's going to happen. Um, so yeah, okay. So moving on, I will ask you for your QC versus One Thief prediction. Don't make
Okay.
scrims because that's no fun.
Well, so I've been told by you and someone else that Rat's gone on
Yes,
sabbatical for an unknown amount of
clip and
time,
ship it.
which will at least include this upcoming match. But I did also inform you earlier in the stream that we've actually scrimmed the Ratless roster. Um, Rat's one of the best players in the server, but I really think their fall off on that roster is not much, if anything, because you have Alec, who is just such a good mid laner, and you have Ribbons, who I think could easily be starting on any team, and is just kind of chosen to be a sub on QC 2 seasons in a row. Um, Ribbons has very always impressed me anytime I've gotten to see her play, done really well. So I don't think the fall off is much at all. Um,
Yeah, for what it's worth, you can also run Paul and Jim on this roster, or you can run Insidious and Paul. You can't run Jim and Insidious, but these are all options that they have, in
okay.
addition to just running the standard Zaver with other support.
I see. I know nothing about Insidious, so if they end up playing, I have no prediction on them. But everyone else on that roster has always impressed me a lot. Um, I think we got to bounce back. I mean, both teams kind of need to bounce back. Both teams got 2-0'd, kind of with a close game and kind of with a not as close game.
Yeah,
So
I will
nobody's kind
say
of happy with how their week one went.
I think QC getting 2-0'd by us means a little less than you getting 2-0'd by NYMB, just based on what we said in the power ranking. So I think your team has more to prove, but I
Hmm.
think if you guys are running main roster, I think that gives you a little bit of advantage, which I think would lead to a really good series.
I think to me, this series is going to come down to, I think, a couple matchups. I think particularly mid lane, me versus Alex, going to be very, very important. And then I think anytime Drakar's in, what you can do against him is going to be very, very important. So I'm looking at mid jungle as being very important in this series. I kind of think top and bot lane. I kind of think they'll trade blows back and forth. So if one of the mid jungles can kind of get an edge in any way, I think that could be really advantageous. So I mean, I'm not going to
Keeps
predict against my team. That's not a thing. So I'm going to go 2-1, One Thief. I cannot predict against the boys.
it keeps auto selecting the wrong matchup that I want to highlight. Anyway, you versus Alec have only played 5 times, and you are up one, and the KDA gap is fucking nuts. So I think that at least probably leans in your favor. I was actually going to say that I think this series is going to depend on bot lane. I
Mm.
think you're going to have a slight advantage in mid and potentially top. I think top's actually probably just a wash. And they're going to have a very significant advantage in jungle. So if Sarv and Bean are able to get an advantage into bot, I think the game is pretty dead even. But if Ribbons and whoever they're running support end up getting kind of Sarv and Bean's number and being able to punish them, I think it's pretty much just sunk for you. No offense,
Yeah, I mean, I
but
don't want to I'm not gonna sell
yeah,
myself short. I think I have had good games into Alec, but I will also just say those were probably like sign up
yeah,
games
almost
when the
definitely,
quality of the rest of the team could be who knows what it was.
yeah.
Drakar's probably the best jungler I've ever played against as far as pressuring the mid lane. I mean, just ganking it really effectively. So it's going to be he makes it very difficult to generate advantage in
Yeah, I would say
1v1.
he's the
So
best
we'll
jungler I ever
see.
played against, except I've played against Riot Freak, and obviously
Oh,
that guy's the
true.
best. So I
There
did
you go.
solo kill him, but in a team fight around Baron, it wasn't a jungle solo kill. But no, Drakar's fucking crazy. I think Fishy did a really good job of playing around him, but we were not
When
able
does
to stop him from generating a massive lead. And I think if Jakar sets his eyes on flipping a lane around and really punishing it, I think he's going to be able to do that. And looking at a matchup where I think there's only one lane that skews in the other team's favor, I think it's fairly easy to pick one out. So I think it's on Jonah to kind of bounce around the map and keep up objective pressure and stuff, which is doable. I mean, I think you guys can win, but I think everyone needs to show up and play better than you guys did against New York Nutbusters. But
Definitely, you cannot. I mean, we reviewed, we talked about it. Mental stayed strong, but definitely just some uncharacteristic mistakes. I thought that really didn't allow us to close out what should have been a good game two. Because I mean, the early game in game two was damn near perfect. I mean, everyone was doing well. So just some unfortunate mid-game macro and just kind of individual micro mistakes that really cost us. And I think, just the level of play on all the teams is so high that if you make those kind of mistakes, teams are going to punish you for it. Like, you can't get away with mistakes that you could maybe have gotten away with in the past. And now you got to be clean, because every team has players that are just capable of snapping on you if you make those mistakes. So we got to level up, obviously. I'm excited for the opportunity to play against the defending champions. I like playing against the best, win or lose. That's why I'm here. It's fun to play against the best players. So any chance you get to go against a team this strong, that's a good challenge. I will say I didn't actually get to see game two of your series because that was overlapping with our series. But I saw the post game, and the fact that Drakkar was like 18-2 or some BS and managed to lose at least gives me some hope that he can get his and maybe you can still win somehow. But that just goes to show how good that dude is, that even in a bad game, even if the game they lose, it's like, how do you stop that guy?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Gwen jungle, interesting pick.
I will flip through the meta a little bit. I think Gwen is really good. I think Jinx is really good. I think Yunara is fucking crazy. I think everything else is a little inconsistent on how good it is.
Is the new patch going to drop before these next games? The 26.3? So. When's that? Is that next week?
We started playing games right after the second patch hit, so I think it'll be after this week.
Okay, I saw the patch preview today.
Was it on the Riot website or was it on Twitter?
It was on Reddit is where I saw it. The only reason I'm bringing it up, there were a lot of buffs, a lot of nerfs. I think it's actually going to shake things up a lot.
Yeah, no, this is going to be next week.
And I will say just one thing. It's not a secret. It looks like they gutted the hell out of Zed Jungle, which has been like a permaban against Drakkar a lot of the season. So that's one thing.
Yes.
Potentially.
As with the monster damage for Jace.
And with Jace, so a lot of champs that have kind of he's been eating bans on that are potentially getting hit kind of hard. So, but I'm sure he'll be good at whatever gets buffed. So,
yeah. I mean,
lose one, you gain one.
I don't think that's hitting because it would have come out today if it was going to be live. So, pretty sure. Sometimes they do Thursday patches, but we at least would be on Riot's website. It says added on February 4th here, so you're safe.
Whoa, or not safe.
No, right, not safe.
They're somehow nerfing Echo, which beats me. Who knows?
Oh, well, maybe you'll actually get to play him if he gets nerfed. Or maybe they'll just randomly leave it up against you and see what happens.
Somebody will.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's enough characters on your team that if they just randomly get left up, I think something crazy could happen. But definitely less than you're used to, though. I feel like normally you're used to having a lot more one-tricks on your team. So that is an interesting dynamic. I feel like it's a lot easier to ban you out this season. But we haven't actually thought about draft prep against you guys, so maybe that's not true. But
I have been eating more bans than some seasons past, a little bit. But I don't know. A lot of season left, a lot of time for other people to have champs show up and draw priority, so we'll see.
Yep. Okay, moving on to the last series I think we need to predict. Oh, I didn't predict this one. I want to predict your team, but I don't know if I can do that and have my full faith in it.
Just give us your honest prediction, my guy.
1 Thief 2-1. I'll do it. I'm not super confident, but I think it's doable.
Thank you. Appreciate the confidence.
Yeah. Going into this next matchup, though, oh my god, I have no clue what I think is going to happen.
Alvarez versus SKT. Yeah. This is gonna be a fun one, man.
This is the matchup. This is the one. If you only watch one, watch this one. because what the hell is going to happen? It's going to be like anything else.
It's
You'll
gonna
hear the
be
results
peak.
and you can go back and watch it and you'll get the same effect. This one, like anything could unfold over the course of this series. Like I genuinely have no clue. And if SKT gets their first win after 17 consecutive losses, you want to be there for it. You want to be there
Oh,
for it
if you're
live.
not there when SKT finally breaks the drought, you're gonna have missed one of the greatest events of mankind history.
This is
I mean,
true.
this is over a year in the making. This is 2 seasons plus in the making. It's the fun part is too, it's so many of the same players who have been there since the beginning of it that like
Yeah.
they
They're
have
guaranteed to have at
fought
least
and
three, I think.
grinded and they have and it's not been for a lack of trying that they have not been able to win one. So it's coming. I know some of the work that they put in on the back end. It is not for a lack of trying. And they have been very close multiple times. And I don't want to say this to sound like it's any hate to Albert's team, but I do feel like this is maybe their best chance or one of their best chances because I
Yeah,
think, as I said,
I
Albert's is
wouldn't
kind of
say that
figuring
if this
out.
was
It's
happening in
kind
week
of
4.
yeah.
If
It's I
like
think
Alberts
Albert's
is
is just kind of figuring
so
out what's going
unlucky here.
on.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
like
Like
this is SKT's spot,
yeah.
man. This is their spot.
Yeah, if you're Alberts, you are probably a little pissed off about this. In an ideal world, Alberts has to play like Snarkify here, and they're just like, okay, we'll just get a game in, get reps in with our team. It will probably get smoked. It's fine. But if Alberts comes in with a fresh roster, no Lispy, and they just smack the shit out of SKT, that solidifies them as a
Yeah,
very solid spot. And I think that, validates the power rankings that we had that are putting them up a little higher than the bottom. I think if they come in tonight and
yeah,
they just look like an absolute wreck, I don't think that dooms them for the season. I think having NYNB up kind of soon, again, this is all subject to change, so maybe it won't actually happen. But I think that's another fine game for them to have early on, maybe once they get their feet in a little bit. But I'm assuming that they've been practicing together over the past week. I don't actually know that for sure, but they did have that week of downtime to help get their new roster together and get some practice in, which hopefully should help them. But I don't. It's hard. I mean, I'm gonna call for the SKT win. I'll even say a 2-0, make it exciting. But I really want Alberts to show up with a solid roster and show what I know this team's capable of. They have not made playoffs the last 2 seasons, which is really tough. But neither is SKT. I would like to see one of these teams make it to playoffs. It's going to be tough though because 3 teams are getting cut, so it could be them 2 plus someone else. But
that is tough. Yeah,
yeah,
because it's usually been 2, correct? So you got
yeah,
9 teams, but still sticking at 6 teams in playoffs is. I feel like as we near the end of the season, that battle for 6, 7 is going to be insanely competitive,
it
super
is.
close. Hopefully comes down to like an actual matchup at the end of the season versus like tiebreaker. This person needs this team to win,
It
that kind
could
of
be.
crap.
I think if it's going to be any of them, it's probably going to be PT or Alberts. But Metabusters and NYMB at the end could be it as well. But
We'll
I
see.
don't know. I would like to say that
Oh
Rift Sharks and One Thief are gonna make it, but hey,
yeah, who knows? We got a
I'm
ground
just
to make
excited for
up.
this one. I'm excited for Starkify versus QC last week. I hope that this can stay alive in the schedule because, as you all know, it can change. So this could get pulled in. The schedule as of last week actually had that match happening this week. So I'm glad that the availability didn't work that way and it got to go back to the end. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to look forward to as the season goes on. We did try and spin it up so teams that should be projected to be near each other towards the standings are ending up together towards the end. Captains did want that for some hype matchups at the end, but yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. What is your prediction though? I'm curious, and then we'll go over the
Can I hear yours
brackets.
first, please?
I just said 2-0 SKT. I'm a
Oh, you said
believer.
2-0 SKT?
Yeah,
I I just okay. I've given all the reasons I think can really be SKT's moment. Like I said, I think Alberts is figuring out their roster. I think there's a little bit of an unknown there. SKT supposedly got this new player that's going to come in and be like a game changer. I think they have momentum to build off of week 1. Even though you lost, you looked good. All that being said, my guy Omar is
that's
stepping it
true.
up. Alberts Inferno 2-1.
Okay, banger prediction. Okay, and then what I am gonna do here is do we have anyone watching live? How many people do we have watching live? We have 4 viewers.
I'm one of them, so.
Okay, I'm also one of them. Oh well.
We got
Okay,
fishy. We got fishy.
that's true. Okay, for anyone that watching live, I am gonna drop um, the new Google Forms, and we'll go over them. We'll see the results, and I'm about to make everyone super hungry with the sandwich one. Did I drop this in season discussion last time? I think so.
I don't recall. I think you did.
Okay, so if you guys want to hop on, you two people watching want to hop on and fill out these forms, they are available, so you can go as we go. But first, I will walk us through the co-host. Mason Drake shirt long hair and Mason Drake shirt short hair have advanced from their respective draws.
Fun.
The Mason side of the bracket is very boring. There's not much variation here. We do have blurry and Hawaiian shirt 2, black hair and Wumpus Vacation. The two pink shirts are now battling each other out against each other. This one's a very exciting one. You have to pick which pink
Battle of
shirt
the Titans
is better.
Yeah.
The daylight
Yeah.
episode, and then short hair with a sun blast in the background. So the two lighter photos. Out of chair and mustache era, and then out of chair again and flashbang Mason. I think flashbang Mason is a solid contender. Taco Bell Mason and laughing Mason. These are the two where Mason looks the happiest. Okay, and then this one was crazy. Beach Mason was taken out by a sleep Mason in a unanimous vote, and Julian has
Really?
defeated his father. So, sorry, Garrett.
No surprise.
No.
I think
He was
Julian
against
may
Tusini.
just run the
He was against
matchup.
Tusini. Julian wiped Tusini. I think this one's a close one, though. A sleep Mason and Julian is good. Cooking
Yeah.
Garrett beat Eating Garrett to make it here. And Stern Garrett was defeated by Beach Garrett. I think this is a good matchup. Jeopardy PV demolished Jeopardy Teddy, probably because he had more money. And Hypno Honan advances, taking out Blake by a very slim margin. Will demolish Taxi, and we get Jacob B instead of Jacob A. Plaid Jacob versus Hoodie Noam. Celtics Hoodie Noam, and Noam defeated Premier Gruer, which sucks. Sorry, Gruer,
Wow.
you've been defeated. Gruer
That's
and
okay.
Eiffel advancing. I think that one's an obvious one, and people really did
Hey.
not like the shaved Gruer. It got defeated by brown
Wow.
shirt Gruer. And then Beer Gruer and Average Joe's Gruer. This is a very exciting one.
That's a tough one. It's a tough
It
one.
really is. Beer Gruer is very solid. Someone just got their response in. We're absolutely balling here. Okay. The Dean bracket is up next. Halloween Fizz with glasses versus the Germa impression. Very, very good. Bart High beat Bart Sober. Obviously, you have to because of the shirt. And Emo Dean is advancing, regrettably. Fish Long Hair and Juice World Sunburned moving on. Both beach themed, both exciting. And then No Headphones and Tom Kench were the two winning Timberwolves hoodie matchups. And then I believe these are two Metro Boomin shirts, so pick if you like the blurrier one or the one without glasses. Look Late Door, and again, daytime episode. People seem to like that one. Both daytime ones advanced. The two Showmaker jerseys, one I have left, the first episode Dean and the middle part. Kochi's shirt glasses absolutely wiped Kochi's shirt no glasses. There weren't a lot
Wow.
of polarized matchups for me. This one was like a 10-0. It was like nuts. And then the Dig jersey beat the Dig shirt. Dean Eating. People really like these eating ones. They're also undefeated. And Default Dean moved on. Page jersey and Ruler jersey with glasses. Go-Kart Dean, which I know is the one you're pulling for. And Clean Drugs
Yes.
Only absolutely demolished the Juice World shirt. Green Goblin versus the Checkered Flag shirt have advanced. Both two of my favorite shirts. I think they're fun. Chef Dean with the hand sign, and Green Dean, Classes Dean and medium hair. Gen G Pencil Tiger jersey and Scrim Zone jersey. I can pull those out for the next episode. The Gen Z Pencil Tiger Worlds jersey is truly peak. I'm so sad I don't have a real one. I had to get the knockoff, but that is potentially one of the awesomest jerseys ever made. And then Pink Tinge Dean got a lot of votes, and Beach Dean has advanced. So Beach Dean makes it, Beach Mason does not. Truly tragic. But this last one is what I'm here for. We get to get into the sandwich bracket. I believe I've eaten most of these. I think there might be one or two in there that I haven't gotten to try. I think I came up with a really good bracket here. We got a lot of submissions,
Let's see it.
and I did some Googling, and I had ChatGPT help me out by filling in some of them, but ChatGPT gave me terrible options, so I threw them all out and found other ones. So we are kind of in categories, and I did name all the matchups. So the first one's kind of like deli sandwiches. So we have the club sandwich versus the ham and cheese. I feel like an iconic matchup. Then we move into two types of BLT. The Southwest BLT with turkey and avocado versus a plain BLT. The Southwest turkey one was a user submission, so thank you for that. We have pastrami on rye and the French dip for our very Western European fans out there.
The French dip is my personal.
Yes.
I haven't even seen the rest. That's my personal. That's who I'm cheering on. So
Yes.
I'm
Okay, and then we
lobbying.
move on to the cheesesteak battle. It's cheesesteak versus the chicken cheesesteak.
Yeah.
I like this. This one was so hard for me to decide on because I think a chicken cheesesteak is better anywhere in the world or anywhere in the country except for the Northeast. But if you're in the Northeast, you got to go with the classic cheesesteak.
Of course.
I think it's very good to throw in like a lot of like a very pepper heavy chipotle one with the chicken, but you can't go wrong with a normal cheesesteak. Press sandwiches, we have the Cubano and the Italian panini. This one's a really tough one too. I think both of these are fantastic. Then we have grilled cheeses. We have the classic grilled cheese and we have the croque madame, the French variation on it with a bechamel sauce and an egg on top. Fantastic. I hope to be able to make one of these at home and do it well, but it's tricky. Making the bechamel sauce is hard. You have to get the ratios right and such. Going on to the wild cards. So we have a turkey melt, a sliced ham and turkey with bacon and cheddar jack on sourdough. The picture doesn't match it, but this is a user submission. I'm trying my best. I think multi meat melt is kind of what I went for. And then an egg salad sandwich. I feel like these are both kind of deli, but not super normal. And then some freak put in bread, mayo, bread with no crust, mustard, and bread. And so I tried to find the closest thing I could to that.
Can you out them?
I don't know who it was. It's anonymous. But anyway, I matched it up against avocado toast because I feel like maybe they're comparable. I did try and sneak some open face sandwiches in there. I think it's fun. Okay, now we go on to more like fast foody ones. So we have the classic cheeseburger versus the patty melt. We have a classic hot dog versus a chili cheese dog. It's tough. I could have put so many hot dogs in here. You probably could have a bracket just for regional hot dog varieties, but chili cheese I feel like is a classic. Chicken sandwiches, someone put in the freaking McChicken, so I'm putting it against the Nashville hot chicken sandwich. Please, guys, you know what you need to do here. There's a clear winner. But moving on to barbecue sandwiches, someone else suggested the McRib, and I put that against the pulled pork sandwich. And we have breakfast sandwiches. So we have chicken biscuit, which is a Southern classic, and a bagel melt. This one's with tuna. I think any bagel melt kind of fits its own niche. It's kind of bagel versus biscuit here for your breakfast sandwiches. Then I have breakfast classics. I have the classic breakfast sandwich and an eggs Benedict, which again, open face sandwich, kind of cheating, but I think this one's a really tough one. I feel like these are both very good breakfast options. Then I went to the open-faced or traditionally open-faced breakfast where I have huevos rancheros and chicken and waffles. Chicken and waffles is questionable if it's a sandwich or not, but I think it counts for the purposes of the bracket. Then I move on to the breakfast wild cards where I have lox and the French toast sandwich. A lot of the breakfast ones are open-faced, which I think is fun. Okay, then we're on to the kind of international angle. So we have the Hispanic handhelds, which is tacos versus arepas. Burritos, again, a fast food submission. Someone requested specifically the cheesy rice and beans from Taco Bell. And I say that versus any other burrito. We'll see who wins. Moving on to Mediterranean, we have shawarma and falafel pita, which I feel like are both solid options. Then we have the banh mi versus the gua bao. I feel like both of these are good. The bao is less of a sandwich, but, bread and meat works good enough for me. Then we have the gyro and the kebab. I feel like both of these are solid options as well. Somewhat similar to what we have here, but, fair enough. They'll meet each other eventually. And then we have quesadilla versus torta. Solid option here. Quesadilla, again, stretching it at a sandwich, but it is meat between two breads, so how mad can you really be?
I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of a torta sandwich. I've heard of torta as a different term. I'd have to Google what the sandwich is.
Yeah, that one was the only one I took for ChatGPT. I was like, I need one more to fill this. I was running out. It's like international sandwich options. I know what you're referring to. I'm just not going to give it the attention that you want me to. Okay. Anyway, moving on, we have the Italian beef sandwich, a Chicago classic, and the po' boy, more of a southern one. And then I have
Gotta
classic
love a good po' boy.
seafoods.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
this one was really hard for me. I think I did vote for the po' boy. A lot of good options for what to put on it.
Yeah.
Crab cake versus lobster roll. This one is a
That's not
northeastern
fair. You're
special.
making crab cake go up against lobster roll because that could be the two finalists in my opinion,
That's
but
that's very true. I tried to put like against like. So
that's fair. It's fair.
okay, and
Lobster roll though.
now we're on
Oof.
to more desserty sandwiches, and then it kind of just
Okay.
gets into wild cards to close out the bracket. But this is the last quarter. We have the classic PB&J versus Uncrustables, which I don't know. I think this is kind of a cop out one. But then we have the mellow sandwiches. So we have the Fluffernutter versus S'mores. I think S'mores is a bit of a stretch on a sandwich, but it definitely fits. More desserty. And then as we go into ice cream sandwiches, we have the classic one with the chocolate and vanilla, and we have the chocolate chip with the chocolate chips on the outside. Come on, guys. You know what to do here.
Yeah.
Moving over to snacks, which I thought was interesting. We have sandwich cookies and cracker sandwiches. This can also include the ones that aren't melted cheese, like the ones, like the ones that you take to the beach, and they got the little layer of the cheese or peanut butter in the middle. Ooh, so good. And then other proteins, I have sausage and peppers and the fish sandwich. I was surprised that no one put fish fillet in there. I was really expecting that because we had the McChicken and the McRib, but
Right.
whatever. Peanut butter mix-ups. I put the Elvis sandwich in here, which is PB, banana, and bacon. If you haven't tried it, you should. It's surprisingly good. And then PB and honey, which is another one that people like, I feel like. Then I went to sauced meat, which is the meatball sub versus the sloppy Joe. And our final matchup is holiday specials, which I put the Thanksgiving sandwich, which Wawa does the gobbler, fantastic. But I have seen this in other places. And then a Hawaiian roll melt, where you just cut the whole thing in half, shove stuff in there, slap it on top. Super easy, very
That's
delicious.
a classic in my kitchen, the Hawaiian
Yes.
Hawaiian melt. Very
Yeah, I
good.
feel like everyone has their own stuff that they put in the middle, but
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like the type of sandwich is all the same. But anyway, this is a exciting bracket, and I'm so glad I ate dinner before this because otherwise I would be starving right now. And I am very excited to see how this goes. Big foodie myself, so
Hmm.
anyway, should be pretty exciting. But not as exciting as the games that we're going to get to watch over the next few days. Sunday is a doubleheader, and we get Rift Sharks and Metabusters tomorrow, and we are closing it out with the big one, Albert's Inferno versus SKT. Do you have any final thoughts before we close it out?
Um, my final thoughts are just that week one was awesome. I think every match got streamed live, which is just such a
It's
great
true.
way to start the season. There was great viewership on all the ones that I saw, great interaction in the chat. So, I mean, just been really happy with the community, and I think everybody's just been so cool and supportive and nice. And it's just such a fun community we have here. And I'm glad that this season started off so well.
Yeah, extra shout out to Blind Spiral and Alec, who both casted for. I know Blind Spiral's done it a little bit, but he was able to do it on his own personal Twitch while Jacob was doing it on the main one. And then Alec literally learned how to cast the day before or the earlier that day, and then casted and did what I thought was a fantastic job. So credit where credit's due there, and love everybody for stepping up. And yeah, I mean, always DM me if you're interested in casting and you don't know how and you need some help. I'm happy to dedicate like 20, 30 minutes that it'll take to set you up, and it's probably going to take a lot less than that. But anyway, I think week 2 is going to be even better. We had a great first week of games, and I like these matchups even more than I like the first week. So should be very, very exciting, and a little sad that we're not going to see Snarkify this week, but that means we'll get to see him for the rest of the season as well as Albert's Inferno.
Yeah.
So excited for that.
Yep.
But yeah, peace. Thanks for watching.
Peace.